Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Daily Distinction. It is our quick weekend check-in. I hope you're doing great today wherever you are. It is a big football day. All my pals, we're all texting back and forth and talking about what a big football day today is. You know, it's here one of those unusual Saturdays that has both great college games and NFL games today. So if you're a football fan, today is a great day. Donovan, great to see you as always, my friend. Glad that you are here. Thanks, everybody, for doing our quick weekend check-in. And, you know, I don't mean this to be about sports, but I think sports is a great example of why story is so important. Well, then good to see you. I hope things are going well for you. I hope health is doing okay and that you are doing great. Man, I love it when I see that you're posting. That's really terrific. Larry, hey, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking in on the weekend. Pam from Fishers, Indiana, watching a game that Indiana could have been in today. It just kills me. They're at Lucas Oil Stadium, the helicopters flying over it. I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, it would be so great. Just got the girls back from grooming. Naps are in order. Yes, of course they are. Holy cow. I bet they look gorgeous, Ed. That is so cool. Yes, Cheryl, I will tell you about that in just a second. See, you're there you go. That's it. Go Gators fighting Irish, Cyclones, and Packers. Being here in Vegas, Brian, I should have done a parlay on that. That sounds like some. If the Gators come through, you could win a lot of money on that today, couldn't you? Hey, Larry, thank you for sharing too as well. Jerry, just got done telling stories on your podcast. Hey, I will listen in. I really appreciate that, Jerry. Thank you so much for that. So, I've been texting all day today with my friends. Larry Wingate, who could care less about football. I said that wrong. He could not care less about football. And his wife, Rosemary, is a big Oklahoma fan. So I'm sure that she's screaming at the TV going crazy over the OU Iowa State game. But Mark Sanborn, who, of course, went to Ohio State University and was a big deal, big man on campus there and continues to support the Buckeyes, is going nuts over the game. The Ohio State has the lead in now. Joe Calloway is on the text loop too. And because Joe and I both went to smaller schools, it's kind of fun because we don't have to root for anyone in particular. Joe can root for both Tennessee and Vanderbilt. I can root for both Indiana and Purdue when they're not playing each other. So, but I think it's interesting. One of the things that occurred to me is, why do we support the teams that we support if you're a sports fan? And it's likely because there's some kind of story behind it. In other words, Mark probably doesn't say, well, of course I support Ohio State. I was born in Ohio. He would probably tell you a story about the first time that he saw an Ohio State game, or somebody that he looked up to in his community that was an Ohio State fan, or after the 4 years that he spent on campus going to games. And there'd be a ton of stories that would back up why he's a sports fan. Cheryl said, purple? Yeah, you very seldom, and I do have a darker t-shirt on underneath it, but you very seldom see me wearing any other color but black. I'm doing that today, well, because first off, I was out taking my walk, but also because, Nito Quabain has been one of my great friends for many, many years. He's now the president of High Point University. And I'm on the in-residence faculty at High Point University. So I support the High Point Panthers. Why? Because I can tell you the story of Nito. I can tell you the story of High Point University. I can tell you these stories that mean so much. That's why story is so important to you and your career and your business. Jerry, we are fighting internet problems here. I've called in about it, and it's I'm even hardwired in, and good. I'm glad but my internet has been consistently inconsistent. And your doggies have the holiday bows. I dig that. I love that so much. That is really, really cool. Curtis, good to see you today, as always. And Charles, thanks for checking in from chilly Silicon Valley. It's up to 54 degrees here in Vegas right now. So the point is that when we talk about the teams that we support and somebody says, oh, why are you for them? I mean, my favorite pro teams are the Indiana Pacers and the Indianapolis Colts. And I can say, well, I grew up in Indiana, of course. But there's more to it than that. I can tell you the story of When I was a kid, I was 14 years old, and we went to an Indiana Pacers game. First time I'd ever seen professional basketball. And I worked for this little radio station in Scottsburg, Indiana, and we were on the Indiana Pacers network. And so my job was to sit there and be quiet and do what they call running the board. In other words, I would get the feed of the broadcast and I would put it through the control board onto the air at our radio station. And then I would read local commercials and things like that. So at 14, at the basketball game, I introduced myself to the voice of the Indiana Pacers then, Jerry Baker. And the next game, I'm sitting alone in the house trailer in the mobile home that was our radio station in the middle of a cow pasture. That's true. And Jerry Baker said, and I want to say hello to a young man. I don't remember his name, but he's working in Scottsburg, Indiana right now, putting us on the air for all the good people down there. And I really, really enjoyed meeting you. And I was like, I'm sitting there in this house trailer by myself going, and I became a Pacer fan for life, not just from seeing them, but the kindness of somebody. Now, see, there's a story that talks about fan loyalty. There's a story that talks about the importance of kindness. There's a story that talks about the importance of reaching out to young people. There's a story. It's a story that talks about several different levels. But it also lets you see why I'm crazy about the Pacers. Now, I don't mean this to focus on sports. I mean this to talk about commitment. Because for several years, Tammy and I had season tickets for the Pacers games. We went to season tickets in NBA is 41 games, and we made probably 35 of the 41. That's commitment, 35 nights, getting ready, going downtown Indianapolis, parking your car, going in. I mean, we had a high level of commitment. It all started with one person being nice to a kid. So that's the power of story. I would love to tell that story to the Pacers front office because they think it's only about winning games. And don't get me wrong, that's a big thing, but it's also about how do you connect with the people of your community. Brian asks a great question. Why do you feel the power of narrative and storytelling is becoming essential in our world today? Brian, I think there's several reasons, but let me give you the biggest one. And we're going to talk about this at the Distinctive Story program. But I think there's so much clutter out there today. Right? And as there's so much clutter, everybody is claiming that what they have is the best. And everybody is claiming that what they have is the least expensive. And everybody is claiming things about their products and services. And that has no emotional resonance. But a good story does. See, a good story does. And I think it is absolutely critical to make, and you're right, to make these connections. And there's one of the things that, and Charles, yes, absolutely, it's for the connection. And I think that's one of the things that the reason it's become even more important now is there anything that we're missing more during this pandemic time than connection? I mean, man, that's what we are really missing is, I mean, there are some folks, me being one of them, I'm not going back to Indiana to be able to be with my family. And we are missing connection more than I think ever before. So notice we've got two things bombarding us at the same time. Number one is this lack of connectivity. Larry, Joe, Mark, all of my pals, Randy Pennington said this the other day, is that, holy cow, if there's anything we want to do, it's just to go to a bar and sit with our friends. Not because we miss alcohol, right? I mean, I got a bottle of wine downstairs. I've got a bottle of bourbon downstairs, right? I mean, it's not that I can't access alcohol. That's not what I want to sit and talk to friends. I want to sit and have that connectivity. Well, years and years and years ago, AT&T used to run these ads, and it called long distance the next best thing to being there. It didn't say it's as good as being there because nothing is as good as being there, but it said the next best thing to being there. I think that's what a compelling story is today. It's the next best thing to being there. And if we learn how to do that more effectively and more productively, then we make these kind connections that are so vital. Hey, Robert, it's great to see you. Thank you for being here. Kindness experience becomes an immediate long-term memory, which will outlast the negative. I agree. I am with you there. Absolutely. Joan, yes, they remember how they feel. You're exactly right. And so that is the key. It is that connectivity. So Brian, I appreciate the question. So just a plug. I'm glad you're here. But if you would like to learn more about how you tell more compelling stories, what does it take to create them? What is the structure? How do you get better at crafting and telling your story? Then just go to distinctivestory.com. Going to do a program on December the 30th. Would love to have you be a part of it. Distinctivestory.com. And we're going to focus that day. And the reason I picked it is, I don't know about you, but that week between Christmas and New Year is kind of a great time to learn and to plan on what I'm going to be doing in the coming year. And goodness only knows, we're looking forward to 2021 more than ever before. So I thought it was just a really appropriate time to talk about how do we get these compelling stories? Because the other thing is, even when this pandemic is in our rearview mirror, I think things have changed forever. I think that desire for connectivity is so implanted in us after this pandemic that the desire for a great story is not going away. It's only going to get bigger. And we got to get better at it. So if you'd like to be a part of that, I'd love to have you there. Just go to distinctivestory.com and sign up. You can register. You can find out all about it right there at Distinctive Story. The main thing is focus on your story and telling your story, because it can make a significant difference to the people that you contact. Hey, Tim, as always, so great seeing you. Thank you for being here today. Thanks to everybody for jumping on. As you know, on the weekends, we just do a quick check-in, and I'm really glad that you took a few minutes out of your big Saturday to come by, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on the repeat. Thank you so much. Joan, what a great comment. I was getting ready to go, but I got to get these two comments in. Stories compel us to emotionally connect. Jesus with parables. My mentor, the guy that got me started in all of this, was a guy named Grady Nutt. And Grady had this great line. He was a minister, former minister. And one of the things he said is, I think in today's translation, in today's verbiage, verily, verily, I say unto you, would really be, that kind of reminds me of a good story. I always loved that quote. That kind of reminds me of a good story. And they would tell a parable that it was an incredible story. Yeah. Some local friends for social recreation, but being successful. Wow. Yeah. I love that. And Robert, you have made, hey, that's how we connected, right? To your point, you're exactly on it. Had it not been for this, we wouldn't be connected. And that's so important. So, thanks, Tim. Hey, you bet. Charles, I'm with you. I always love to see when Weldon is on board. So thanks, everybody, for taking time and taking a little bit out of your Saturday to join us. We'll do this again tomorrow. I look forward to catching up with you. And don't forget, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern, it's the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. Glenn Morshower, the famed actor, and Ken Walls, the famed live streamer, and a guy named me will join us. So hope I catch up with you tomorrow for a quick check-in, same time for Daily Distinction, and tomorrow night as well. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Go to distinctivestory.com. See you soon.